Kids, welcome. It's Professor Thomas. Here we are in the Science Refresher 5-minute review of everything that you've learned before. If you're watching this video, you may have taken a break from Junior Genius over the winter time, or you may have skipped one of the tests, like maybe the October exam. So let's get started. Couple things to keep in mind. The overview here, what we're going to talk about is our goal is just to get to the correct area. Please do not try and understand the material. The complication of the material is going to throw you off. Our goal is just to simply answer the questions. Focus on the answer choices when we do that. What we're going to do here is most of the time is we are going to try and point to get to the right area. Then from there, once you pointed to the right area, you would simply try not to understand the material, just simply drop your fingers down into the answer choices and see which one of the answer choices makes the most sense when you look at where your finger is pointing to. All right, 3 types of science that we're going to see and we're going to run into: data, experiments, and conflicting viewpoints. Data is data. It's just a bunch of graphs or charts. So when we see data, think point. That's what we want to do. Point to the right area. When we see conflicting viewpoints, this is going to be all text. So what do we do when we see text? We finger scan. All right. When you see data, simply point. When you see text, simply finger scan. When we finger scan, we're going to look at the question stem, find the most relevant words. Usually they're going to be verbs. And then simply go up into the text area at the top above the experiment or in the mini introductory paragraph at the top and simply try and find those words. Once again, since it's science, I like looking for the verb, but however, sometimes it might be the noun. Data, point, conflicting viewpoints, finger scan. All right. Why do we finger scan in conflicting viewpoints? Because it's all text. Well, sometimes we have both. In an experiment, you will have data and also you will have text. Here's what something would look like there. You may have a graph or a chart here in the experiments, and then there will be a little mini introductory paragraph just above it explaining a little bit about what you see below. Then there would be experiment 2, which would be something similar to that. Keep in mind that an experiment is going to have data, a graph or a chart, but also, like I said, it's going to have text as well. So what do? We're going to do pointing and finger scanning. All right, it's like a combo problem. You're going to get in a situation where most of the time in experiments, you're going to have to point. We're going to hit a position where we can't answer the question. We simply underlined what was important in the question stem, and then we pointed to the right area. When we do that, we can't answer the right question. The answer doesn't fall in our lap. That's what we call yikes. All right? Yikes means we're going to have to go one level higher. What we do is, in experiments, most of the time, however, sometimes in the data, you will hit a yikes. Point to the right area from the question stem to the right area in the data. When we do that, we stall out. That means we can't answer the question. What happens is you look at all your answer choices and you don't like any of them. That is called yikes. We simply go back into the question stem at the top up here, finger scan for some type of most relevant noun or a verb. All right? Yikes means finger scan. Point, drop and match in your answer choices. We can't answer the question, so what we have to do is we have to finger scan. Yikes, kids. The next type of thing that you might run into is a long question stem. A long question stem is going to be something longer than 3 lines of text. All right? It will give you background information, and then the second part down over here, maybe the last sentence is going to say, because of that, the author wants to do this and that. Okay? So what we want to do for long question stems is break it into 2 parts. The first thing that we're going to do is go to the second part of the question stem here. We're going to read this first. We're going to focus in on the noun and the verb and understand what the question is asking us to do. Because of that, the author wants to do X, Y, and Z. Okay? Then what we're going to do is go back up and look after you understand what the question is, we're going to go back up and we're going to look at the first part focused on the noun and the verb. All right, so now you already know what the question is asking us to do. Then we're going to throw in the new information they give us. After that, what we'll do is we'll simply go ahead and put the question back together with part 1 and 2. You're going to do this out of order. Make sure you understand what the question is asking you to do first, then add the new information in and do it. Long question stems, break it into 2 parts, start with the second part first. The last thing that I would like to remind you kids of is this: prior knowledge questions. Sometimes you're going to have one question that requires prior knowledge. That means it's not in our ACT passage anywhere. It may ask you about the order of the planets in the solar system or something like that. It may ask you the density of water, which we have to remember from prior knowledge, what we learn in school. Okay? Might ask you about gravity. What is gravity? 9.8 meters per second. You may have to pull in some information that you learned in science class. All right? Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's more difficult. You have to remember that science prior knowledge questions usually will not be counted in the total. That means out of the 40 questions, if there is a prior knowledge question in there, you can get 39 questions correct and still get a perfect score of a 36 on your ACT. So if you're running into a question that feels like you can't find the right area because it's just flat out not in there, that may be a prior knowledge question. And if you don't have that prior knowledge and you don't know this, don't spend time. We have to make sure that we get to the end of the test before we start playing around with questions that are unanswerable because it's not in the passage. There you have it. It's a quick overview, kids. Thanks for watching. Good luck on test day. Bye for now.